recognized shows and events, and drug rules. That's what we're going to be talking about today and what you need to know as a future pro in this category. There's a lot to know as far as drugs and rules and regulations. Where do you start? What do you need to learn about right now? That's what we're going to be diving into. First, my story. When I broke out on my own, started my business, I didn't realize the heavy necessity to understand USEF drug rules. All of a sudden, I'm putting my name down on my clients' papers as trainer for those shows, or digitally, of course. And I didn't really understand the gravity of what that really means. Because I am the professional in those scenarios, I am responsible for the drugs and medications that are in the horses or being used by the horses in my care as far as competitions are concerned. So even if something is given to a horse by another barn owner or that client, ultimately me as a trainer, I am responsible. And if I do not follow those rules, that ultimately I am opening myself up for the possibility of fines, which can get quite hefty, by the way. So for you as a future professional, there are some things that you need to know and learn about from a horse management perspective on these rules and just the use of drugs and medications on the day-to-day, weekly, regular basis. First off, we know that the vets are a key part of this, right? The vets are going to make those recommendations, write those prescriptions, but then it's our job as professionals to make sure they're followed and then followed in accordance with the competition guidelines. Now, don't be scared. Sometimes we think about, oh my gosh, there's just too much to deal with. I am scared to death about drugs and regulations with competitions. Oh, it just makes me so nervous. Okay, the point here is we have the science and technology, the R&D to have these drugs and medications for our equine athletes that make them comfortable and performing in their jobs to the best of their ability in a really happy way. These are tools when properly managed and administered under the veterinary advice. Our job as trainers is to make sure that we are following the guidelines and the rules around such use. So for example, if we think about basic anti-inflammatories, we think of Bute, Equiox, Surpass, these type of things. These are competition legal, but here's the thing, under the correct dosage per body weight that is outlined in the rules, and then with the amount of wait time before that competition. And so the use of drugs in these cases are allowed, but making sure your responsibility as that trainer ultimately comes to you to make sure that those details are taken care of. So this is what you can do right now as a future pro. I want you to get to know and get used to the drugs around you. Let's say the vet is coming to your farm and floating your horse's teeth, and they have to give that horse a sedative. Ask them, which one are they using and why? Start to get an idea of why that vet might have chosen one drug versus another or a combination, and then learn what those side effects. How can you see if you see a horse in certain symptoms, like what do you see, what drug might have been given to what horse, and then what you need to be careful and watch out for. So for example, are they a bit wobbly? Do you need to be careful moving them? Do you need to keep hay and water away from them? That type of thing will build with knowledge or build with time as you ask those questions and read about these drugs. So yes, there's so much knowledge there, but you want to have a working understanding. Meanwhile, if someone, let's say you're helping someone load a horse someday, and they say, well, I gave X, Y, Z to this horse to help him relax for this trailering experience. Goodness, as a professional, you better know roughly what was given to that horse, because that could put you or that horse in a very dangerous situation. So having this critical horse management knowledge and some familiarity, again, this is under the guidance of a vet, but you still need to have that working knowledge to be best prepared to then work with the vet in your program and have a comprehensive perspective on how the competition rules, the use of these drugs, of course, all under the guidance of a vet, vary. The best way to do this is stay familiar with the most recent updates of the guidelines, whether you're following USEF guidelines, FEI guidelines, or other guidelines within your discipline. follow those, look at those regularly, make sure you're up to date. These rules change, and something that may have been allowed at a certain dosage will change, will come on or off that list. So no recommendations here. This is a little caveat. I'm not here to give you recommendations, but I'm here to point you, one, to the necessity of learning this knowledge, and then two, the necessity of making sure that you are reading those regulations and learning and familiarizing yourself with this type of knowledge. So if we have not met before, I'm Dr. Emily Irvin Cordero, the founder of the Rising Equestrian Pro, which is an online platform all about helping you prepare for your pro training teaching career. I'm so glad you're here with me, and this video, along with many others, will help support you in your journey to pro. So subscribe. Questions below about this video or just questions in general about your pro career, and I will be happy to get back to you on those. So all the best for today. Talk to you later.